You know, there is nothing more pressing right now than that Americans all across this country come together to stop this catastrophic Iran nuclear deal.
Yeah.
Right.
If this deal goes through, you know, it's
diplomacy, not war.
You know, the interesting thing about free speech.
We want TED. 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 We want TED.
The interesting one. You know, it is very interesting to see those who profess to believe in free speech who are afraid of speech.
Yes.
Who count that, but your friends and colleagues are not.
Standing here with peace
Well,
sign, that's all.
Well,
You're registered as Iranian agents yet?
look, hold on a second, All right, sir, come forward. Come here, sir, you want to be part of the discussion? Come on. Hold on a second. This lone pink gentleman. Sir, you want to yell and scream, come forward. Come on,
Come on up.
All right, you want to, all right, will your colleagues be quiet while you come forward? Will you ask your colleagues to be quiet? I'm happy. Who wants to come forward?
No, Medea.
We can have a discussion if we actually have a discussion without being shouted down.
Ma'am.
Now let me say, if this deal goes through, three things will happen. Number one, over $100 billion. Number one, over $100 billion will flow to Iran that they will use to fund Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and radical Islamic terrorists. Those billions of dollars will be used to fund jihadists that will murder Americans, that will murder Israelis, that will murder Europeans. Does that make any sense?
No, it doesn't make any sense, because the only way that we're going to stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, if indeed they're trying to get one, is to have this deal. That's not just what President Obama and John Kerry are saying. That's what the British are saying, the French are saying, the Chinese are saying, the Russians are saying, the Australians are saying, New Zealand is saying, Jordan is saying. In fact, it passed unanimously through the Security Council. So the entire world is saying this is the best deal that we're going to get to stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, to bring about a peaceful settlement of this problem. And what makes you think, as Ted Cruz, you know better than all of these countries together? You don't. What you have been pushing for is going to lead us to war. The American people, and I would think even these concerned women, don't want another war in the Middle East. What we want is peace in the Middle East, diplomacy. Just like we saw the flag go up in the Cuban embassy, that's diplomacy at work. 54 years of not talking to each other doesn't help. Just like with Iran, we need dialogue. If we get dialogue with Iran,
Only the Senate can filibuster.
Okay, so let's, thank you, ma'am, thank you, and I respect your right to speak.
And thank you for giving me the opportunity to do so.
Absolutely, but let's have some dialogue. So one of the things you said is if Iran is trying to get nuclear weapons. Well, the nice thing is, I think in debates, truth matters. And you know, one entity, one person with whom there is no ambiguity in terms of whether Iran wants nuclear weapons is the Ayatollah Khamenei, is President Rouhani, both of whom explicitly say they are developing nuclear weapons. There is no doubt about it.
Absolutely false. They say that there's a fatwa against nuclear weapons and that they're developing nuclear energy. But I don't say trust them. I wouldn't trust them. I agree with John Kerry. Don't trust, verify.
Ma'am, I did not interrupt you. I did not interrupt you, so I would ask you to show me the same courtesy. If you look at number one, I would note you did not respond to the irrefutable point that this deal will send over $100 billion to Iran, and those billions of dollars will be used to murder Americans by jihadists. You didn't respond to that. And let me make a second point. I recognize the folks in Code Pink like to hold up signs saying peace with Iran. Do you know who doesn't reciprocate those views? Iran. Ma'am, let me finish now. I'll let you speak. In the midst of this negotiation, the Ayatollah Khamenei led thousands of Iranians in chanting death to America while they burned American flags and Israeli flags. The Ayatollah Khamenei is not remotely hiding. There is a reason he calls Israel the little Satan and America the great Satan. Because Iran has stated its objective to murder as many Americans as possible. They are not seeking peace with us. And indeed, President Rouhani was quite candid. If you want to know what this Iranian deal is, listen to President Rouhani of Iran that says, we have gotten everything we wanted out of this deal. This deal is a complete capitulation by President Obama to radical Islamic theocratic zealots who want to murder millions of Americans.
Well, so can I respond? Just like there are radical religious zealots right here in the United States, and I think we're surrounded by some of them here, who would rather see a war in the Middle East. So there are radical religious zealots.
Please, let's be respectful. Let's be respectful.
Radical religious zealots in Iran, but that is not what Rouhani represents. Rouhani represents a moderate faction, and the majority of people in Iran, just like the majority of Americans, want to see this deal go through. We as people are desperate for peace. We think this nuclear deal is a good thing for peace. It's the radical religious zealots on both sides that don't want the deal.
Okay, ma'am, I would ask you, please. Okay, listen, let's all be respectful, but ma'am, I would also ask that you demonstrate respect for the people here. And insulting people here and calling them radical religious zealots is not, we are not insulting you. I would ask that you show the same respect. I will say, is it true that there are radical religious zealots elsewhere? Of course. The difference is nobody is proposing giving radical religious zealots nuclear weapons to use to annihilate anyone who has a different faith than they do. Rouhani is not the power in Iran. It is the Ayatollah Khamenei who has pledged death to America. In fact, let me tell you about 2 days, 2 holidays they celebrate in Iran. In America, we have holidays. We have the 4th of July, we have Thanksgiving, we have Christmas. Just about 2 weeks ago, in Iran, they celebrated a day called Al-Quds Day. Al-Quds Day is known in Iran also as Death to Israel Day. It is when they come together and chant that they seek to annihilate the nation of Israel. Then there's another day they celebrate. It is called Death to America Day. Death to America Day is the anniversary of Iran seizing Americans hostage in the late 1970s. On Death to America Day, every day, thousands of Iranians come together, they burn American flags, and they chant Death to America. I believe in peace. I believe in peace through strength. And sir, we brought forward someone from your group. Please be respectful and have a conversation instead of trying to shout down views that you're unable or unwilling to respond to. I believe in peace through strength. If history teaches anything, it is that weakness and appeasement only invites war. There was a time when Neville Chamberlain came back from Munich and said, we have peace for our time, with another lunatic, homicidal maniac. And that resulted in millions losing their life. Let me tell you, Barack Obama's weakness and appeasement of the Ayatollah Khamenei increases the likelihood that millions of Americans, millions of Europeans, millions of Israelis may die. The best way to avoid military conflict is peace through strength. And it's worth remembering, the last time we had a weak, ineffective president in the White House, Jimmy Carter, the last time we had a president who let American hostages languish in Iran, just like the 4 hostages who are there right now, Pastor Saeed Abedini, Amir Hekmati.
Come on, let's move on.
Sir, you're welcome to come up and speak or be quiet. Come on up then, sir. Come on up, sir. Sir, are you please, let him come through. Sir, are you scared to have a conversation? Are you scared of the truth?
Absolutely not. It's just, why are we rehashing old history?
Okay, well,
we all know this history.
If we were going to rehash old history, I would talk about the overthrow of Mossadegh in 1959.
Well, why don't you have a rally and go talk about that?
Yes, let's talk about the overthrow of the legitimately elected Iranian regime in 1953. Let's not go there. Let's talk about what we need to know today, Senator Cruz. I do respect you coming out here. I do respect listening. I do listen to you. I'm very curious as to your views. But this the vitriol, the rhetoric, the going back over past history doesn't help us right now. What we need to know right now is, how are we going to get to this point where we're assured that everyone feels safe and comfortable, not with threats of they're going to kill us all stuff. Let's just figure this out so we can make it work.
And sir, I will respond to you now. And this is how civilized people have discourses. They don't yell and interrupt each other.
Agreed.
I heard you out. Now I'm going to respond. You said, why should we discuss history? Well, there's an old adage, those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. The last ineffective, weak president we had, Jimmy Carter, wrung his hands in impotence while our hostages languished in Iran. This president, like Jimmy Carter, is leaving 4 American hostages in Iran. I would ask people to look at their faces, and please don't block these men who are suffering. Pastor Said, sir, I didn't interrupt you. Sir, I didn't interrupt you. Please show some modicum of respect. 4 American hostages. Pastor Said Abedini. 1,091 days. He is a Christian pastor. He's an American citizen. He was sentenced to 8 years in prison for sharing his Christian faith. Amir Hekmati, sir, I recognize that you find the truth very offensive, but under the First Amendment, debate means you have to listen to things you disagree with, and I have listened to what you have said. I would ask you to show the same courtesy, particularly since you have come to our event and crashed it. We have shown you respect and civility. Sure you are.
I'm not. I'm an independent computer scientist.
Well, okay, well, then I ask you to show the same respect as Code Pink, which is a request I would make. Sir, Amir Hekmati, who's an American Marine, 1,425 days in an Iranian hellhole. Jason Rezian, 367 days. A Washington Post reporter to our friends from the media. This president is leaving a reporter in an Iranian prison while doing nothing. And Robert Levinson, 3,059 days. We don't know his whereabouts. How do you actually get something done to change it? It is worth remembering in terms of peace. I want peace, I assure you, ma'am, every bit as much as you do, but I don't want peace at the price of millions of Americans being murdered. And it is worth remembering that Iran released our hostages in 1981, the day Ronald Reagan was sworn in. If you want peace, peace through strength yields peace.
How can we use peace through strength and Iran cannot? I think these policies are inherently they inherently don't work. It's like Dr. Strangelove or How I Love to Learn the Bomb. They lead to war. They lead to violence because when I use peace through strength and you use peace through strength, what we get is a show of strength and not a show of peace.
This Iranian nuclear program is not about seeking peace. It is about murdering others. When they chant death to America, they mean it. And they can have the sanctions lifted tomorrow. I introduced legislation that indicates the direction I think a strong commander-in-chief would go, that would immediately reimpose sanctions, that would strengthen them to make them even more crippling, and that provides a clear roadmap for Iran to lift the sanctions. Number one, they should disassemble all 19,000 centrifuges. Number two, they should hand over all of their enriched uranium. Number three, they should shut down their ICBM program, which exists for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to carry a nuclear warhead to the United States of America. And number four, they should stop being the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism. If they engaged in peaceful activity, the sanctions would be lifted, and if they behaved like members of the civilized community of nations, they would be welcomed into the civilized community of nations.
You have demagogues like Ted Cruz who come up and are trying to derail what this administration has spent years negotiating with other very important countries, including England and France and Germany and China and Russia, and just approved by the entire Security Council. So it was nice of him to bring me up and to engage in a dialogue, but at the end of the day, diplomacy is what is needed. If this deal doesn't go through, Iran will just move forward, and we'll have no compunctions in moving forward. And China and Russia will start trading with Iran and will lift their own sanctions, and we will get absolutely nothing from that.